Let me turn that countdown off. Hey, everyone. How we doing today? Let me just try something here. Let me do that. Let me do that. I'm going to edit this. Text box shrink. Dynamic. There we go. And we're going to put that up there. Oh, that didn't work. I'm just adjusting one thing. Let me just hold on 1 second for me. Background text margin. Oh, let me How do I get that to go down? Text margin, background style, edit text. Here we go. Let's do this. Let's do this. A little too small. What? Be right with you. There we go. There we go. Okay. Back to live mode. Let me just move this over a little bit. So who paid attention to the Apple event with the new, thank you for the thumbs up. Welcome from up the highway from Philadelphia. Absolutely. It's about 90 minutes from where I live, something like that. So who saw the Apple event? I presume you're here because you did see the Apple event. Apple announced, let me just check one thing. Yes, everything's sounding good. I've been working with Ecamm Live, and the audio is, there's so many different places audio is on Ecamm Live. And I was having some issues with things not being where they're supposed to be, but I think I've got it worked out now. So if you saw the Apple event, there was a lot of predictions about what was coming out with the iPhone 15 and the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Some of them were accurate. For example, USB-C. Yes, we did get USB-C, but it's not Thunderbolt speed. It's USB 3 speed, up to 10 gigabits per second from what they said. That was interesting. Up to 20 times faster than Lightning. Thank God. 20 times faster than Lightning is very, very important. I mean, let's just start from the beginning. Okay, the Apple event was great. I wouldn't say great, but it was certainly very, very good. Well, it was good. No, I would say it was very good. So we have a couple comments. Another comment. Stereoscopic camera mode on the iPhone 15 Pro Max definitely indicates MV-HERC, which means rectilinear 3D editing is heading to Final Cut Pro in the future. Okay, let's say it's coming to Final Cut Pro 10.7. I'm not afraid to say it. 10.7, we don't know if there's going to be an Apple event for October for the Macs. We don't know that. We have no idea. But if there's not, then I would say a good time for 10.7 to come out is going to be at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit on November the 6th is the day we're going to be, Monday the 6th. 6th, 7th, and 8th. The 6th is Apple Day. We'll be at Apple Park all day. My bet is they're going to announce Final Cut Pro 10.7 between now and that November the 6th, if not on November the 6th. Because it's due. Eric says, rumors say no October event. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes they have those events, sometimes they don't. We're going to talk about the iPhone 15 Pro mostly here because that had some big surprises, 3 or 4 big surprises to me that I didn't see anybody talking about. Recording to SSD is nice. Concerns overheating potential. Having to use an adapter to plug into a mic when using SSD. $69 cable. I don't think you're going to need a $69 cable just for the SSD. Now for the mic, different story. Will they have an adapter that lets you record to the SSD and put a USB mic in at the same time? That's a good point. I was hoping for more than a 5 tele lens. You know, have you ever tried zooming in on the iPhone? When you're that zoomed in, it's really hard to hold that iPhone steady. Now, if you're on a tripod, it doesn't make any difference. The M3 series of chips will be absolutely what? Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Always appreciate thumbs up. I'm going to ask for your help in a week or so for some other issues involved with the Creative Summit. However, it solves 2 issues I always have. 1, recording limit issues with my iPhone 12 mini. 2, transferring files from iPhone. Exactly. So the speed, thank you very much for the thumbs up. The speed of the SSD is the USB-C is USB 3 speeds. They're saying 20 times faster than Lightning. Well, it doesn't take much to get 20 times faster than Lightning because Lightning was molasses slow. It was extremely, extremely slow. The M3 series of chips will be absolute bangers with both ray tracing and a neural engine twice as fast. There you go. So like I said, we're going to go over mostly the iPhone 15 Pro because there were some things that came in there that nobody talked about ahead of time. Number 1 was the periscope lens. They didn't use a periscope lens to get the 5 times optical zoom. They developed something new, a new system, not a periscope lens. And then, yes. Sorry, iPad typing isn't my favorite, absolutely. So the Asus log color support on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I wonder if better color management is also headed to Final Cut Pro or if they are continuing to widen the gap with Resolve. What did they show on screen for color? They showed Resolve. Once again, they didn't show Final Cut Pro, they showed Resolve. Now, I don't think anybody would debate that Resolve has the better color app. The color app is industry standard, so it is better than Final Cut Pro's. So I don't mind that they showed Resolve on screen rather than Final Cut Pro for color. It doesn't bother me at all. Atmos Ninja recording, DJI drone footage, no limits. The possibility of endless. Now what USB-C Thunderbolt exists on the phone. It's not Thunderbolt, USB 3. They said that in the event. USB 3 is not Thunderbolt. I was kind of disappointed about that. I was hoping for Thunderbolt because Thunderbolt's more robust than USB 3, but it's a USB-C connector, but it's USB 3. They specifically said that. Wow. So, you know, the whole first part of the event, I'm like sleeping, snoring, whatever. The phone, I mean, the watches, they look really cool. They save people's lives. I understand that. The iPhone 15, the plain one, and the Pro, I mean, in the, what is it, the iPhone 15 and the something, whatever, the next step up, I wasn't really interested until they got to the Pro, although they did mention some things with just the iPhone 15, USB-C. Let's give applause to everybody for that because that was a rumor that was pretty confident that was happening. Thank goodness that happened because that speed lightning port is just bonkers slow. 60K frames per second ProRes only on attached storage. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a big one. That's one of the things they weren't talking about, right? Let's go over here. Graphics. Take this off. That's not what I want. Take my... Yep. So let's go over to some of the things that we have to discuss today. Let me pull up my notes.
Unknown caller.
People calling me in the middle of my live stream. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. It's appreciated. Thank you very much. Now let's see here. What do I have? Where is it? There it is, right there. Here we go. So I'm going to pull this down here. So first off, it's using the A17 chip, the new chip that was developed for the iPhone 15. So that's good. It has all these extra features and things. It's all brand new for the 15. Let me turn that off. Let's go here. Oh, well, let's just, I'm going to start at the bottom and then work to the top. I'm going to go in the order that they show these things. So here's another one. A17 Pro, ProRes codec, ProDisplayEngine, AV1 decoder, whatever that is. Here it is. Here's what I was just talking about. Maybe they didn't say it, but it says USB 3 support. It has a USB, let me put myself back up there. It has a USB controller for the Pro Max has a USB controller, USB 3 support up to 10 gigabits per second. So that is not Thunderbolt speeds. It's okay. It's okay. I'll take USB 3 any day over Lightning, which was complete. Oh, it's a complete highway. It was just a wreck, train wreck, dealing with that for these years. Let's go back to the main screen here for some comments. I'm going from an 11 Pro Max to the 15 Pro Max, so I'm pretty excited, absolutely. I'm going from the 14 Pro Max to the 15 Pro Max because I trade every year because I use this as one of my main cameras. I have a Lumix S5 Mark II X. Love that camera. It's lightweight. I got some small primes on it. F1.8 primes, a 24 and a 50 F1.8, so it's really good in low light. The autofocus is fantastic. And that's my main pro camera. But this thing, my 15 Pro Max, this is the 14 Pro Max that I'll be selling and trading in, has been phenomenal for me. Who are they pandering to with all this save the world green nonsense? That's Apple. That's the way they've always been. That's not a. I don't really get involved with those kind of discussions. They can do what they want with that. I don't really care. I'm glad they're doing it. Probable spatial video editing capabilities in Final Cut Pro 10.7. I believe so, although ProVision doesn't come out this year. That's correct. ProVision comes out in they said the first part of 2024, so 10.7 might not have it, and I really don't care about that. I'm not going to get the goggles, and I'm not going to be worried about spatial video. I didn't worry about 3D video. I didn't worry about 360 video. I didn't worry about any of that stuff. I just like editing plain video, although I do like, now on my Lumix S5 Mark II X, I shoot in 6K, always 6K, 4:3 aspect ratio. And I crop in, so I'll put that 6K video and I'll put the spatial conform to none and I'll drop it in a 4K timeline. That gives me the ability to move that video frame around a lot of different ways, up and down and left and right. I can reframe. Been very, very handy. It's been very, very handy. So there's a couple of there's 2 or 3 things that caught me off guard about the iPhone 15 Pro. I'm going to say Pro Max because that's what I'm getting. Number 1 is the external video ProRes recording. You can use your phone and record to an SSD. Who predicted that? Now, I was talking about, as a matter of fact, my one post I said, are we going to be able to plug an SSD directly into the iPhone and transfer, direct with no computer and transfer video back and forth, both to the SSD and back from the SSD to the iPhone? Well, this confirms that that's going to be the case. You can record directly to an SSD. You don't need a 2 terabyte iPhone anymore. I'll get the one terabyte, unless the 2 terabytes not that much more, because sometimes I'm only going to carry the SSD when I know I'm going to be doing a lot of iPhone recording. Like at the Creative Summit, I'll bring it there, of course. But when I'm walking around, I'm not carrying an SSD with me. Okay, I'm just going to have the iPhone. So I'll get the 1 terabyte, which is what I have now. I might get the 2 terabyte. It's kind of funny. You can record to SSD from iPhone, but can't edit on iPad in Final Cut Pro. Guess it will be a new feature. I'm not sure. Final Cut Pro. So, speaking of iPad and Final Cut Pro, I did my first 45-minute edit with LumaFusion on my iPad, my old iPad Air 2, because I can't get Final Cut Pro on that. It won't work on that. So I used LumaFusion. Fantastic. It's been it was a very pleasurable experience. Once I got used to how things work and where things are, it's really, really good. I am going to, when I'm live, when I'm in some place like the Creative Summit, I'm going to be editing. I'm going to be shooting on my phone, editing in LumaFusion, exporting from my phone. I'm not going to take the footage and export it to the Mac. Now, I'm talking about just quick videos. Just quick videos. I'll have probably 500 gigabytes to the 1 terabyte of footage on here. I'm not going to edit all that and upload it. I'm talking about quick, when I want to put a quick video up, shoot on my phone, edit in LumaFusion, export from my phone. Titles, color correction, audio, mixing board, everything. Fantastic app, LumaFusion. So I was pleasantly surprised you can record to an SSD. I was talking about just transferring files, connecting an SSD via USB-C and just transferring files back and forth. But it went beyond that. You can record to the SSD. Now, does the app have to support that? How is that going to work? Is it a native camera app? They didn't come out with a Pro camera app, which was kind of, Maybe they'll come out with it sometime shortly. iPhones max out at 1 terabyte, do they? Okay. So I don't have to worry about that then. Oh, he's referring to editing from SSD to iPad. Gotcha. Well, does the iPad have the A17 chip? Nope. Nope, not yet. I think the A17 chip, it has a USB controller. Remember we went back, we did that? We did that? So USB controller. This is the A17 has this USB controller. That's why the iPhone connects to the SSD. A17 Pro, the chip. That's why you can't do it on the iPad, because it doesn't have that. So that is fantastic. Now, as somebody mentioned earlier, I use my Pro Audio goes into my phone now via USB. So I won't be able to do Pro Audio into the phone and record to an SSD at the same time. I don't think. Maybe there'll be a dual slot. Maybe OWC will come out with a dual USB that has 2 ports that will support the SSD drive and Pro Audio. Hopefully. If not, as a matter of fact, I have it right here. So the good thing about the good old DJI system, I already have the USB adapter. It's right here. The USB adapter already hooks on to the receiver. You can't see it, but you can't see it. It won't focus. It's focused out here. So I already have the USB-C adapter. Hopefully it works okay. So I don't have to worry about that. I have a Lightning and USB-C adapter for my DJI system. Now here's the good thing. If I can't record, I love this case. Fantastic. If I can't record, if I only have one USB-C port, there's no expander for 2 ports. If I want to record to an SSD, which I probably am going to sometimes, I can record directly to these transmitters. They will record my audio, and I'll have to sync in post. That's all. I'll use scratch audio on the phone, and I'll sync it in post. So I can still get Pro Audio, the 24-bit audio, on these and record to an SSD on my phone. So that's one way around it, but I'm hoping OWC or somebody else comes out with a USB-C dual input that goes into the phone and supports an SSD and Pro Audio both. That's what I'm hoping for. Does both. Let's go back to our graphics. So once again, the reason that you can connect an SSD to this phone is because the A17 has a USB controller and has USB 3 support up to 10 gigabits per second. Okay, so it has a USB controller. No other phones or iPads, as far as I know, have a USB-C controller, USB controller. So that's something right there. Now let's go. So this is what they say, of course. And I'm like, well, 20 times transfer speeds, 20 times faster transfer speeds than the old Lightning port. Well, of course, I have a turtle. I have a turtle that's faster than the Lightning port. Come on. So here's the 5 times telephoto lens. Move my picture out of the way. Here we go. So the 5 times telephoto lens, I am satisfied with that. 5 or 6 is fine. 12 megapixel, 2.8 aperture. That is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Up from the 3, it's almost double. But this is what they do. This is the interesting part. They didn't do a periscope lens. Okay? They didn't do a periscope lens. They did this thing. Zip, 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 zip. It's not a periscope. It is a tetra prism design, they said. A tetra prism design. It's their new design, not a periscope. Hopefully it's going to be good for us. That's what I'm hoping. Right? Yes, I am. I hope it's going to be fine. So Eric says, yeah, wanted USB 3.2 speeds. Yeah, it says 3, 10 times. Yeah, but listen, compared to Lightning, it's a world of difference. So, and the fact that you can record ProRes 60 frames per second 4K onto an external SSD now is incredible with the Pro. That is an incredible feat. I didn't see that coming. And of course, we got the USB-C. So here's what it says. Let's go over to the graphics here. This is a spec that they said. 4K 60 ProRes. Externally to an SSD. 4K 60 ProRes to an external SSD. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. That's really, really good. Another comment here. Any idea how big the sensor is, 1 inch or not yet? I don't know the physical size, but they did say, let's talk about that for a second, since you brought it up. I have a graphic here. Let me see what it says. Oh, it's a 25% larger sensor. So whatever the other one was, whatever the iPhone was, this one is 25% larger. The main camera, I guess they're talking about. So it's 25% larger, the main sensor. So I don't know what size physically it is. I guess I'm more concerned about how it performs. So the aperture is f1.78. Nice. That's good. That's better for low light. 25 millimeter focal length. I have a 24 millimeter f1.8. It's basically the same thing for my Lumix S5 Mark II. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. It is appreciated. It is appreciated. So obviously, I'll be getting the iPhone 15 Pro Max. They said it's coming out September the 22nd, or it's going to be in store. So that's 10 days. It's going to be in store in 10 days. Let me see what September the 22nd is. Yeah, it's Friday. Order it on the 15th, and it comes the following Friday. Now, this one might be coming from India. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. It's appreciated. Thank you very much. So now let's talk about the other thing, a couple of other things that they brought up. So our friend Julio says 10 gig speed was 10 years ago. They have just announced Thunderbolt 5. Apple now releasing features for future upgrades. So yeah, but once again, this is 20 times faster than lightning. That's a step up for me, dramatic step up. I'm not worried about being Thunderbolt 5. Let me pull this up. This was there's a couple of other pretty interesting things here. So pre-order on Friday. I'll be taking care of that, of course. Pre-order Friday. I'll be definitely ordering mine on Friday. With the trade-in seemed pretty good this year. I have to see what it looks like. Now, this was interesting. Nobody once again talked about this, right? This is the first first phone that qualifies for Academy Color Encoding System. And it qualifies for that because it has log encoding via recording to the SSD. I guess ProRes log encoding. I guess that's what it is. I'm not clear on what the log. I know what the log is. I mean, it's logarithmic. It allows for better color correction. I mean, working with color and stuff, and better dynamic range. I understand that. So let's just see here. Probably power draw and battery considerations. Okay, that's a good point. That is a good point. So what else do we have here? So that ACES thing, anybody that's a colorist, I know we have colorists that watch us, but so one of the things you can do, you can plug the USB-C in to your Mac. They showed somebody doing photography directly to the Mac from the phone with the USB-C. You probably can't do that with video. Yeah, I think you have to go to the SSD. We'll know that people have these in their hands. I'm sure we'll be seeing some reviews coming out shortly, if they're not already out. So I'll be curious, with me, it's about video. I don't care about the phone as much. I don't care about other things. I care about how good the video is. Well, this is a big step up from my iPhone 14. My 14 was big enough to go from the 13 to the 14. I always get a new one. So I'll trade this one in, get the 15, get it a week from Friday, order it this Friday whenever it goes on sale. And I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. It's still not going to be as good as low light as my Lumix S5 Mark II X, but that's a full frame camera. So anytime I'm recording indoors and lower light, I'll bring that camera with me if I have the option. If I'm just out and around and all I have is my iPhone 15 Pro Max, that's what I'm going to use. I use it all the time. Zachary says, I wonder is, did they ever fix that stupid global illumination shifting that iPhone video always has, even in third-party apps? I don't know. We'll have to find out. That makes shooting with it so much better. Okay, you're talking about something that I don't know about. So I've heard different issues with color shifting and stuff. And look, you give us the $1,500, $1,600 camera, let the native camera app have manual controls. Let it have a manual audio control. Let it have audio meters. Come on. This is ridiculous. You have a phone like this. Well, we don't know. It doesn't look like it's going to be there. We'll have to see if they update the app at some point. We'll have to see what's going on there. But anyway, so this exceeded my expectations. I wanted Thunderbolt speed, didn't happen, but we got the USB-C, that's a good. External SSD recording, that's phenomenal. The ACES things for people who do shoot and log or whatever, do color correction and want that. Yeah, give me the ability to set the ISO and shutter speed manually, absolutely. And shutter speed, I like the focus manually, ISO, and the color. The white balance. I want to adjust those because it does shift. That does shift. I've seen that. You have no control. Now you have control in apps. I did subscribe to Filmic Pro because they brought the price down to $19.99 for a year. So at $19.99 I bought it. But I have 6 other pro camera apps. You can control the white balance. You can control the ISO. You can control the shutter speed. So it's not hardware dependent. People keep saying, oh, I hope the iPhone 15 has this. It's not hardware. It's not hardware. We've been able to access these things in phones for years with third-party apps. It's not hardware. It's the dumbed-down cam app that Apple has there. They should put out a pro version or update the cam app to give us these pro features that third parties have. They're running circles around your app. Now, here's the thing. One of the things so we have 7 different lens combinations now. It's ridiculous. 7 different lens combinations. Where's that graphic that they had? Display, it's not there. I guess I didn't save that graphic, but it had 7, oh, I know where it is. It's here. It is here. 2 up. Count. This graphic, thank you very much for the thumbs up. The graphic at the bottom, okay. You have micro. Let me turn myself on. You have micro. 13 millimeter. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. 24 millimeter, 28 millimeter, 35 millimeter, 48 millimeter, and 120 millimeter combinations on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. You have all these combinations. That's phenomenal. That is absolutely phenomenal. Once again, I was wondering what they were going to do with putting things in like they have in the 14 with the 1x, 2x, and 3x optical zoom. Mostly with slight changes in brightness and white balance developing on what the camera pointing at, even in apps like Filmic. Is that right? It even happens in apps like Filmic Pro. That's interesting. So that would be good if they take care of that for us. Spatial video capture available later this year. I guess we'll get a Final Cut Pro update for that. Yes. I'm going to say 10.7 at the Creative Summit. That's my bet. 120 millimeter is very good if it works, and being able to change focus points in post for photos is great, similar to cinematic mode in video. Yeah. So 100, I'm very satisfied with 5 times. I use the wide, the ultra wide and the wide, I think more than anything. And then sometimes I'll punch in 2 times and then sometimes 3 times, depending on what. Now I can punch in 5 times. Wonder if you will be able to record front and back video or wide and close lens separate. Good question. Separate to SSD. We have apps that can do that. The Rode free app can do that. And of course, Filmic Pro has an app called Double Take that you can do that I use all the time. I use both of those. Let me just check on something to make sure we're doing okay. Okay, so that's good. That's very, very good. I'm very pleased with this iPhone. And once again, I'm excited about it. Now, if Final Cut Pro can only do that, if Final Cut Pro can also exceed my expectations, I don't want them to meet my expectations because my expectations are a little low, but I want them to exceed my expectations with Final Cut Pro 10.7. Yes, that's what I want. And it could come out at any time, but I'm just going to say, why not put it out at the Creative Summit to give everybody something special. Now, if it comes out at the Creative Summit, the world's going to know about it. Now, that's not going to be a secret unless they preview it and say it's coming out in December, January, February. But even then, when we had 10.4.4, Final Cut Pro 10.4.4 at the Creative Summit, worldwide debut at the Creative Summit, they allowed us to post on social media immediately. They said, please do post on social media. Post it on Twitter, post it on Facebook, post it on YouTube, post. So that's what I expect again will happen again. I guess you will just configure where the file is saved to. I imagine toggling in the setting under camera. Well, the camera is not that sophisticated. I'm still hoping for a pro version of the Apple native camera, and I'll tell you why. We have 7 different lenses, or combinations. With the camera app, I can switch to those lenses while I'm recording. I can switch to each one of those lenses while I'm recording, at least in the 14 Pro Max. Okay? This is one of the criticisms I have about Filmic Pro. In order for me to switch a lens in Filmic Pro, it's 4 to 5 clicks. Menus, click on this, choose a lens, close the menu, start recording again. It's a nightmare switching lenses. So Filmic Pro I'd only use when I'm stationary on a tripod, 1 lens. I'm out live, I'm recording events like I recorded the High Wheelers race in Frederick, Maryland. I'm switching lenses 2 and 3 times on 1 continuous shot. I'm hoping all 7 lenses can be switched in the iPhone 15 Pro Max as well. From you to God's ears, I am not optimistic. I'm a little bit optimistic for Final Cut Pro 10.7. I'm a little bit. This camera might do some things, but let's wait. 10.5 was a real nothing burger. That was the worst. We had to wait 3 years and we got nothing. It was just nothing in the update. 10.6 was a little bit better. I'm hoping 10.7 is dramatically better. I'm hoping it's dramatically better. So we'll see. I'm not holding my breath. That way, if it's not that much, that's what I expected. If it's more than I expected, that's what I hope. I wonder if you'll be able to record multi-view ProRes for spatial audio limited to... We will find out. We will find out the answers to these. There seems to be some random pop sound that is low. Not sure if it's my AirPods or anyone else here. Let me just check. Nope, I don't see it. I don't hear it. I do not hear it. I mean, I might have popped into my microphone with the, if that's what you're talking about. I don't see it. I don't hear it. Come on. Hush. I do not hear it. Hush. And portrait mode is automatically applied when it identifies people and dogs. Yes. Portrait mode. Automatically, but there's probably a switch for that, I hope. I hope. Marcelo, are you coming to the Creative Summit this year by any chance? I saw you in 2018, I guess, at the Creative Summit. It was very enjoyable speaking with you then. Random, but I wish companies like Moment made specific lenses or filters with the vintage look, cause I love the look of older glass. Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. I have guitar amplifiers that use tubes. It's one of my favorites. So Moment just completely updated their lenses to a brand new system. Hopefully they work on the new iPhones. I'm not buying any more lenses. I have a whole set of Moment lenses. They're in pristine condition, in a case, in pouches, and I'll be selling those. I'm not going to buy any more lenses. The only thing I would buy is the anamorphic. I may buy that because that is really cool. Now, what did they didn't mention resolution, right? They didn't mention the resolution, so it's just 4K. It's still 4K, which is fine for the phone. I don't have any problem with that. I'll get a new Pro Max, but wait until maybe January. There you go. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Or why don't companies make Panavision actually get in on the mobile shooting game? Imagine the money they'd make. Listen, the fact that this is supported, what is that called? ACES? Academy, I have it here. Academy Color something. Let me see what it is. I have it written down because I wasn't sure. Academy Color Encoding System. So that's Hollywood. Now, they're going after Hollywood with the phone. So far, not Final Cut. But, I mean, listen. I'm going to tell you something that the Final Cut Pro team told us in one of those meetings at the Creative Summit. This is not, trade secret. They have maybe a couple dozen different areas that they focus on for Final Cut Pro. Education, YouTubers now, documentary filmmakers, and Hollywood is one of those that they pay attention to. But it's not the primary thing they pay attention to. It's just a part of probably dozens. So they basically pay as much attention to these different 12, let's say 12 or 15, 16 different areas. Each one gets some of their attention. No one of them gets all their attention. So the idea that they're just going to go after Hollywood and focus on Hollywood, that's not going to happen. It was never a target, the main target. It's one of dozens of things that they go on. Let's just say a dozen. Let's just say one of a dozen. How about the new button on the iPhone? It's right. You can switch it from just being silent mode to a bunch of other things. You can trigger the recording. You can do other things with it. That's pretty cool. I love Final Cut, but at this point, I've totally made the shift to Resolve for the color controls. Resolve is a great NLE. You have no qualms from me, anybody that switches over. None. They are adding more cloud storage options, wondering if that's coming to Final Cut Pro soon. That is an excellent question. I was texting with Brad Olson earlier, and he said they were up to 12, was it 12 gigabytes of storage? I mean, terabytes. Who in the world needs 12 terabytes of storage unless you're shooting ProRes RAW on your phone or something like that? And that certainly could tie into some kind of cloud collaboration thing with Final Cut. Don't know. But it's an interesting idea, isn't it? 12 terabytes in the cloud. They've raised it 6 and 12. Yeah, absolutely. All righty. So I'm looking very, very forward to this. The fact that I can record direct to an SSD is great because you don't have to worry about transferring it. You just record to the SSD, unplug the SSD, plug it in to your Mac, transfer it from there. So even if the iPhone to the SSD is USB 3 speeds, if you have a USB 3.2 drive, it's going to be faster transferring it back to your Mac. Once again, this audience is the best audience of anybody in the Final Cut Pro community. You guys and gals are the best. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think I have another, well, Saturday I'll be back, Final Cut TV and Coffee. So what I'm doing is this. This is my new tag for non-Final Cut Pro things. So like today's event was not Final Cut Pro specific, so I'm just calling it Taylor TV. This will be, I'll do some reviews of stuff, gizmos and stuff. This will be the more generic things. This will also have Final Cut Pro stuff, but this is not going to be Final Cut Pro specific like the event today wasn't. Love the SSD recording options. Absolutely. That's fantastic. I got a new SSD. Oh, actually, it's coming. I got the Samsung 2 terabyte for my Lumix camera. That's one of the ones that records with Lumix. Same thing, record externally to ProRes and ProRes RAW if you have an Atomos recorder. I don't have a Pro. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. It's appreciated. I don't have a ProRes recorder. I do not have a ProRes recorder. So let me go over here real quick. Let me just go over here real quick. English, buy me a coffee. And I'm going to start asking you for favors. Now, I'm going to start today. So when I go to, well, I'll wait. We'll talk about that in a future episode, but I am going to ask you for some support going forward. I guess you have potential to use iPhone as a monitor for camera with the USB-C capability. That would be phenomenal. If somebody has an app for that, or if it's just natively available, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Although, does my camera have USB video out? It has HDMI. It must be, maybe this converter. I don't know. We'll find out. Are there any reviews out yet? There's probably some iPhone. No, I guess there's not because it's not out yet. Pre-orders Friday, delivery the following Friday. So 2 more Fridays to go. Yeah, I'll be ordering that thing on Friday for sure. So there's only 1 terabyte option. That's fine. External SSD takes care of that option. External SSD takes care of that. All right, fantastic. We've been on here for almost an hour. We will be back. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. It is appreciated. We'll be back Saturday morning. I might be back I'm not sure. I haven't talked to the person I'm going to be interviewing on Thursday if they want to just do a Final Cut radio interview or if they want to do a video and audio both. So I might be back on Thursday, but Saturday I'll be here, 11 o'clock Saturday morning, Final Cut TV and coffee. All right? I'm going to get out of here, get ready for the evening. There's a lot of cool stuff that happened today. Look for the reviews. I'll wait for the reviews. Thank you, each and every one that's watching. My name is, well, this is Taylor TV. That's what I'm calling it from now on. And that is what we're going to be doing. I got some reviews coming out, actually some hardware reviews. I'm going to be doing some microphone reviews and things like that. All right. My name is Taylor, and I will talk to each and every one of you on Saturday morning. Thanks for tuning in.